Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, I'm excited. I'm happy. Guys, I always bring you the exclusive, and you guys should thank me. You guys should thank me. I always bring you guys the exclusive, and there is big news. There is big news, and I think there'll be a lot of smiles on your guys' faces. According to sources, Mike Coppinger, Michael Benson, Canelo Alvarez is close to fighting Dmitry Bivol next in a two-fight deal with Eddie Hearn worth $85 million. Brother, $85 million, which, you know what? When you think about the money that Floyd was earning, it seems like, wow, two fights, you thought Canelo would be earning more than that, but it seems like Canelo is kind of making about roughly $40 to $50 million a fight. That's how much he roughly makes per fight. And I think that was his deal with DAZN as well. Canelo at the minute isn't really, breaking the $100 million barrier. That's probably down to maybe there's not the opponents. Like I said before, Floyd had a lot of big name fighters which he could fight, and Canelo doesn't really have that. Canelo kind of mostly sells it himself. I think Gennady and him are massive. But enough of that. Canelo Alvarez looks like he may be fighting Dmitry Bivol next. Now, I'm a bit confused because we were hearing Jermall Charlo, and now that doesn't look like that's going to happen. But what I'm a bit confused about, and I'll explain. If Canelo goes up and fights Dmitry Bivol, how will he fight Jermall Charlo? I don't quite understand. Like, how will he go back down then? I don't quite understand what's going to happen with the titles at 168. Is he going to vacate? I'm a bit confused to how Canelo is going to play this. Because from the reports, Mike Coppinger actually said that Canelo Alvarez may still look at the Jermall Charlo fight. So I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit confused to how Canelo's going to play this. It is massive news, and Dmitry Bivol is a fighter who we want to see Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't think it's a case where people are going to say, well, Canelo's cherry picking, because Dmitry Bivol is actually a fight which obviously a lot of people... I would have preferred the Charlo fight, but I don't know why that's broke down. It seemed like that was the front runner for Canelo's next fight, but for some reason, it looks like he's going to go with Bivol, which I have no problem with. Bivol is an unbelievable fighter, and most importantly, Dmitry Bivol is a harder fight. How did Eddie Hearn convince Canelo Alvarez? Is it a case where Canelo Alvarez just likes Eddie Hearn and likes working with Eddie Hearn? Who knows? Because it doesn't make sense after all what we were hearing about Canelo fighting, Charlo, that now he's all of a sudden decided, he might fight Dmitry Bivol. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a great fight, and I think it's one where the fans are going to be excited. We're gonna be happy about the opponent. And what I don't want to hear is Canelo's a cherry picker. What I do hope is that there's no rehydration clause. What I do hope that Canelo fights him at 175. So there's no excuses, man. There's no excuses. But I am so happy that Canelo Alvarez is not fighting Alungu Makabu fight is not happening, because that I just think was a no-go. I think it's a case where Canelo was offered huge amounts of money by Eddie Hearn. 85 million was probably too hard to turn down, which means looks like Golovkin's going to be his next fight after Bivol. And that also doesn't make sense to me, by the way, because how's Canelo going to fight Bivol for the title, then come back down? Like, I don't understand. Because Golovkin's at 160, right? Okay, just say Golovkin moves up to 168. Will Golovkin move up to 175? See, this is what I don't understand. Once Canelo made that move of going to 175 to fight Bivol, is he then going to come back down to 168? I don't think that's a good thing to do, by the way. I don't think Canelo should be messing around with his body like that. But again, Canelo knows more than me. I'm just giving you my opinion. Like, I just wouldn't like to see Canelo mess around with his body and then, lose something of himself. But he's not like Canelo. Canelo leads a clean life. So maybe Canelo is able to do it. Canelo's at the peak of his powers, and Canelo lives a very clean life. You don't see Canelo out of shape, he doesn't blow up in weight. So Canelo Alvarez, for me, is a very clean athlete, and he lives a very clean life. So personally, I think Canelo Alvarez And I think Canelo Alvarez could possibly go back down 168. But I just don't understand the logic. I would think that you would fight Jamal Charlo first. And then, by the way, this isn't confirmed. It says they're close. But when Michael Benson and Mike Coppinger, give out some information, they have very, very strong sources. And they have a lot of inside knowledge to what we as fans don't know. So when those guys say that Canelo Alvarez is close to fighting Dmitry Bivol next, it's generally true. But I think the deal, 85 million, is a lot of money. And I think it just comes down to the fact that I think Canelo probably likes, the two fights next. And we know that Canelo's going to fight in Las Vegas and Mexico. So does that mean the Dmitry Bivol fight is going to happen in Las Vegas? Because that's what we heard. That's what we heard. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see how what happens. Because I really want Canelo Alvarez to fight these top guys, Jamal Charlo, Dmitry Bivol, but this is a very competitive fight. It's a more dangerous fight. It's against a bigger guy at 175. It's against a very skilled guy, a guy that has very good skills, very good feet, not huge punching power, but respectable punching power for the weight. And a lot of people seem to think, my good friend Christian seems to think that Dmitry Bivol has a very good chance of beating Canelo. So let's see. Let's see whether, he does have a good chance. I've said all along, Canelo Alvarez by knockout. Canelo Alvarez will stop Dmitry Bivol. You've had my word here. And I've made it. If this fight happens next, that's my prediction. Canelo Alvarez will stop Dmitry Bivol. I feel that Canelo Alvarez will break him down and then take him out. That's my opinion about this fight. But what I will say is that I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon that if this fight does, hopefully it gets signed and we do go ahead with it. And what a year we've got. We've got Bivol and potentially Golovkin. Who can complain about that? Who can complain about that? I would have loved to see Charlo. I ain't gonna lie. The fanboy in me would have loved to see the Charlo fight. But Dmitry Bivol, wow, yes, please. Give me that. Give me some of that Dmitry Bivol smoke. Yes, please. Yes, please. That is a fantastic fight. A fantastic fight. I don't want to hear this cherry-picking nonsense that gets talked around about Canelo. I don't want to hear that nonsense. Canelo Alvarez is fighting a guy that a lot of people think can beat him. This is a very, 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 very good fight. Very, very good fight. And fair play to Canelo. Fair play to Canelo for taking this fight. Respect to him because, like I said, Canelo fights the best. A lot of people want to slander Canelo's name. A lot of people talk rubbish about Canelo. But this fight, if it happens, I don't want to hear anybody say Canelo's cherry picking. I want you to give Canelo his dues. If this fight is signed, which it looks like it's close to being done, then I don't want to see anyone give Canelo Alvarez his stick for this because this is a proper fight. You all know this is a proper fight. You all know this is a proper fight. Right? And let's not forget, a lot of people think that Dmitry Bivol can cause Canelo a lot of trouble. So let's not now backtrack from that. Let's not backtrack from that and let's give Canelo his due and his credit if he does indeed sign a contract to fight Dmitry Bivol next. The Golovkin fight, I'm not going to lie. Someone said to me, I can't remember who it was. Oh, who was it? Someone said to me, Imran, I know you're a hardcore fan, and us hardcore fans might not really be that interested in the Golovkin fight. But in terms of the casual audience, Canelo v Golovkin is huge. I ain't gonna lie with you, brother. You're right. You're right. I can't remember who said that. I'm very good with remembering the names, but I forgot who said that. One of you said that in one of the previous videos. And you're right, brother. You're right. That in terms of the hardcore fans, us hardcore fans might not like the fact that he's fighting Gennady Golovkin because we've seen it again. We know Golovkin's kind of past his best. Don't get me wrong. We'll all be excited. We'll all tune in. But I don't particularly want to see that fight as much as I would wanted to see the Charlo fight because it's something different. It's something else. Now, the other thing is, what does Charlo do next? That's very interesting. Because Charlo Where is he going to go? Because they were talking about him fighting. They were talking about him fighting Canelo Alvarez. So what does Charlo now go on to do? That's very interesting as well. So I'm really looking forward to what Charlo decides to do, who Charlo fights. Jamal Charlo needs to get, he needs to fight somebody, man. He needs to get one of those big fights at middleweight. He needs to fight Demetrius Andrade. I just don't know why Demetrius Andrade is like, come on, Charlo, fight Demetrius Andrade. Jamal Charlo should fight Demetrius Andrade. Maybe I'll do a separate video about that, especially now that it looks like Canelo will fight Dmitry Bivol. But I just think I just think Jamal Charlo should fight Demetrius Andrade now. But that aside, brilliant news. It looks like Canelo will be fighting Dmitry Bivol next. And let's see if I can do a live stream today. We'll go live and we'll talk about it maybe in an hour and a bit's time. And we'll discuss this fight. We'll discuss Canelo Alvarez and Dmitry Bivol, because this is a brilliant fight. A brilliant fight between two brilliant fighters. You know what I'm picking and who I'm picking. What do you guys think? How do you see this fight playing out? How do you see this fight playing out if it does happen? Do you think the silky skills of Dmitry Bivol will be too much for Canelo? Or do you think Canelo Alvarez, being Canelo Alvarez, the complete fighter he is, the great ring IQ, do you think he'll just have too much experience, too good for Dmitry Bivol? This is the fight. This is the fight. And if this fight is made, I'm going to be very excited. And some people say it's the most challenging fight for Canelo Alvarez at the 175-pound limit. They actually think it's a much tougher fight than Arthur Beterbiev. A lot of people seem to think that Dmitry Bivol is a much harder fight than Arthur Beterbiev. I disagree, to be honest with you. I don't think Dmitry Bivol has the power to keep Canelo off. I might be wrong, and if I am wrong, I'm happy to hold up my hands. But for me, Canelo Alvarez has faced a lot of good fighters like Dmitry Bivol that move well. I just think Canelo has become adept to that particular style. And I actually think Canelo has picked him for a reason, in the sense because he knows he can beat that style. Canelo Alvarez knows. But a lot of people think Dmitry Bivol has the skills to beat him. But I know Canelo has mastered that particular style. And Canelo will do a number on Dmitry Bivol as far as I'm concerned. I've said it from day dot. I've seen Bivol a couple of times, and I just don't see how he beats Canelo. Some people say that he's been performing to the level of his opponents. Well, let me tell you this. If Dmitry Bivol is not levels above what I've seen of him in his fight so far, he ain't beating or touching Canelo Alvarez. He's got to be levels better. If he fights the way he did against Craig Richards, Canelo will destroy him. If he fights the way he did in his last couple, trust me, Canelo would absolutely batter him. And I might be sounding bullish. I might be sounding, whoa, Imran, come on, that's not that. Come on, you're being a bit over enthusiastic there. No. If he fights the way he did against Craig Richards, Canelo will batter him. Canelo Alvarez is not playing at the minute. Canelo Alvarez is fighting a lot of slick guys and he's battering them. He put Plant away. He broke Billy Joe Saunders' eye socket. This guy is not messing around, right? I just don't see a lot of guys beating Canelo at this particular point in his career. He's an absolute beast right now. Canelo Alvarez is the truth. Don't let anyone make you believe anything else. Canelo Alvarez, I'll say it again, is the truth. And what are people going to say if this fight is made now? What are people going to say about him ducking and dodging, all that nonsense that people like to come out? Because this is a fight, one of the guys that a lot of people still said, well, Canelo Alvarez is ducking. Canelo doesn't want any smoke. This, that, and the other. Oh, he didn't want to fight Dmitry Bivol. Well, guess what? Canelo's running to it now. Canelo looks like he's going to be fighting Bivol now. See, whether he fought Bivol or Charlo, they were both great fights, right? But Bivol is a fight where a lot of people thought Bivol is a much harder fight. Bivol is a much more dangerous fight. Bivol is the better fighter out of Charlo and, out of Charlo and Bivol. Bivol is the better fight. So what excuses are people going to have now? I don't want to hear no excuses. I just want people to give Canelo his props. If this fight is signed and it happens, hopefully there's no catch weight. Hopefully there's no rehydration clause. Hopefully there's none of that. And I promise you, Canelo Alvarez will beat this guy. He will beat Dmitry Bivol. You've heard it here. Guys, if this fight is to happen, leave your predictions in the comment section below. I want to know all of your predictions for this fight, how this fight goes. And if you are picking Dmitry Bivol, let me know. Break it down to me in the comment section. Let me know why you think Dmitry Bivol wins this fight. I want to know. I'm very intrigued to see why you would think that Dmitry Bivol beats. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying I want to know your opinion why. I want to know why you think Dmitry Bivol beats Canelo Alvarez. And guys, and also give me your prediction for this particular fight. All of you. Guys, I'm so happy. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the videos as always, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.